Do you need help?
They're taking away people's hopes and dreams and their self-fulfillment. I think self-fulfillment matters. I don't care if I'm the...
It's all about selling drugs.
The Everyday Psych Victims podcast.
If you are a child, you better not smile, 'cause they'll take you to the quack, put you on legal crack. So if you are a child, you better not smile, 'cause they'll take you to the quack, put you on Prozac.
PSSD is a term coined from the mental hygiene drugs called antidepressants, where the subject gains a very specific hormonal brain damage, waking up with horrifying numbing of their genitals forever. The government has effectively ended their right to erections through their state antidepressant national policies. Although the other mental hygiene drugs marketed as antipsychotics are less talked about causing PSSD because the victims are usually ashamed, abused, force-injected and effectively shamed into silence.
Thank you for joining us on the Everyday Psych Victims project, Ali.
Yeah,
When were you first given psychiatric drugs or referred to mental health, as they call it?
Yeah, I was. It started when I was 21 years old. It was because my parents thought that it would be that I should see a psychiatrist, and that's when it all began. Where actually it was never my intention to take drugs or anything, but I was pressured by my family to go to see a psychiatrist. And
yes, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, and because it was always my family, my parents' intention that I should seek psychiatry. So it was not something that I wanted myself, and they wanted me to take drugs also.
And what drugs were they?
Yeah, the psychiatrist there, he said that I should take a drug called Risperdal and another one called Paxil, which I actually ended taking because he got me committed into a psychiatric ward, and I kind of didn't have any choice but to take the drugs.
What age were you at the time?
Yeah, I was 21 years old when I got committed to a psychiatric ward. So I'm 23 years old now.
And at what point did you notice that your genitals were going numb and it was interfering with your arousal and erections?
That was when I was in the psychiatric ward, but it was at the same time. But the doctors, they wouldn't listen to me. But I got the feeling when I stopped taking the drugs. Actually, that's when I got all the side effects and symptoms.
Yeah, that's when it started happening.
Yeah.
Was it? Did you notice anything else on the withdrawal other than your genitals going numb, which is pretty marketably noticeable, and it's stopping your erections? Did you notice any other withdrawal effects?
Yeah, I actually got suicidal. I remember, and I also remember that I was able to actually get out of the psychiatric ward, but my parents got me back, and that's probably with the help of psychiatry. But yeah, I also became, suicidal. I probably wanted to kill myself, actually. Because, I got the restlessness feeling when you stop taking the drugs.
Yeah, sometimes referred to as akathisia.
Yeah.
Intense restlessness, and it was intolerable to deal with.
Yeah. Exactly.
And How long have you been living with the castration to your genitals and erections from the psychiatric drugs for?
Yeah, I guess it's 2 years now.
And when did you stop taking these so-called antipsychotics and so-called antidepressants?
I stopped taking them actually just when I was released from the ward. So I didn't see any reason to take the drugs. But one of the main problems for me was to, even be released from the ward, because they kind of refused to release me. So I don't know how it, in my country, it, you can complain about that you are being committed and forcefully have to take medication. You can complain, but it's not much help.
Yeah. Like a mock trial type thing. It's for mock reasons.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like it doesn't really. I mean, the people who judge you are, it's a psychiatrist, and that doesn't really make any sense because
Yeah. You have little say in the matter.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, there's a judge, I think, and a psychiatrist, and someone from patient organization. But it's not like a psychiatry organization. It's for the relatives, I think it's called.
Yeah, for the relatives to have their say more than you.
Yeah. So it's kind of like it is a mock trial.
Were you ever injected? Did they ever inject them? Because this was forced treatment, and you were.
No, they didn't inject it to me but they also write all these things, everything that you say, they write down, and they write a bunch of lies.
Yes, they write a report. Judging you basically.
Yeah, they. In my case, they said that I was a paranoid, and that I had delusions and stuff like that. But they also but they didn't inject it with me. They just tried to tell me to take it, but there's like a lot of pressure, because they did say that if I didn't take it, that they would inject it into me.
Yes,
and,
you were under threat. If you don't take it, then they would have injected it to you anyway.
Yeah, and that's horrible. I think that they do that.
It's totally wrong. How old are you now? So how long have you been living with the castration that they have gifted you with? Because you've been off of those drugs you stopped taking them as soon as you got out of there, which was how long ago?
It was, I think, a year ago that they released me, actually. So I haven't taken the drugs for at least a year. But the side effects are permanent.
Yes, very much so. They very often can be, and very often are, from these known castrating agents. So they're still controlling your erections and have castrated you, basically.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to tell on withdrawal and stuff what sometimes, because it can be so horrible, disorientating. We talked about it, isn't it? The acaphasia, your genitals going numb.
Yeah.
And it taking your erections away on withdrawal, almost as a punishment for you not taking their pills that they were forcing you to take that are known to cause castration.
Yeah.
And you're still controlled by them
Yeah.
a year after not taking their castrating poisons.
Yeah.
Has any doctor or psychologist reported this life-changing adverse effect to an adverse effect report agency?
No, no one has reported it, but yeah, I mean, when you go on the internet, there is you can see all the side effects listed, but I have tried to list some side effects that I've experienced myself.
Yeah, it's completely up to you, but you didn't hear that from any doctor or psychologist, and they didn't show any responsibility to report anything like that. I hear you said that they didn't listen to you. They didn't even listen to you when you told them this.
Yeah, they just they denied that the drugs could cause any harm, and overall they didn't really listen. As I said, they write all these things into your journal.
Yeah.
And they they kind of say that you're paranoid if you read about the side effects on the internet.
Yeah.
They would write that I was paranoid.
Then if anyone reads a note about you, it just says you're a paranoid person, and then someone else can come along and then say you've got a paranoid disorder. It's a real judgmental pseudoscience to sell you drugs and castrate you and take you out of society.
Yeah. And I also saw a lot of other patients, and I think the hospital that I was in, it was horrible, but I was also transferred from when my psychiatrist committed me, I was elected transferred to another hospital where I think the reason they did that was probably because it would be easier to say that I'm mentally ill, and it would be easier probably to drug me. But I was I was actually transferred from one psychiatric ward to another psychiatric ward. I think it just became worse in the new psychiatric ward, and they used, I think they used a lot more force, and I think it was all part of their way of dealing with that I didn't want to take drugs. So they kind of put all these pressures on people. There's little you can do about it.
What was your thoughts on the mental health industrial complex prior to this?
Yeah, I actually didn't know anything about it. I was unfamiliar with the whole system, so I actually think that I didn't really know anything about it, and I was surprised to learn about like how much power the psychiatrists have, and how little power patients have in this whole system. Yeah, I actually think that the system is kind of corrupt, because they can do whatever they want. Basically, they can they have full control over you, and you don't have right to any fair trials, so they can just do whatever they want. So yeah, I didn't know anything about the psychiatric system.
Do you think the doctors were right to risk your sexuality for their beliefs in hyphenated treatments?
No. Yeah, they, I actually didn't even have any mental illness. So, I always ask them, why they think that I'm mentally ill, but they never came up with any reasons.
Your their business is more important than what reasons they can come up for ruining your life. They don't. It's not. It's their money. Ruining other human beings' lives is their income source, and always has been.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that psychiatry is actually, prior to my experience, I thought that their job was just to talk and listen, but I didn't know that they actually could, that they talk behind your back, because they, as I said, they kind of cooperated with my family, behind my back, and they didn't really listen to so there was no really cooperation or anything, and I think it's just their business. I don't know if to hurt people, I guess.
Yes,
yeah.
I agree. Yeah. You are their business.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want people to know?
Yeah, I would probably warn them to stay away from psychiatry and psychiatrists, and find another solution. But I really don't know, what else can be done, because they probably have a lot of support, from probably also the medical industry, and the whole system kind of supports them. So I think it's kind of hard to do anything about it. But I also I forgot to say that I was actually studying at that time. So I kind of forgot to say that the reason that I went to a psychiatrist was actually, as a way of dealing with I was kind of depressed, and I thought that maybe it will help talk with a psychiatrist. But I was kind of they kind of breached their trust, and they got me committed. So I would probably warn people to not go to a psychiatrist, because they could commit you, and then it's kind of really hard to get out, and they would inject you, and you would get permanent side effects. So I don't recommend it.
What impact has this permanent harms and castration had on your life, and what impact is it having?
Yeah, I mean the side effects. Yeah, they I mean you do get kind of castrated, and it is I don't know if it's all psychiatric drugs, but I got a drug called Risperdal, and it has some some really
it's well
bad,
known.
Yeah, really bad side effects.
Yeah, and that's that. And they call that one the two main class of drugs. They call it risperidone is Risperdal, which they'll call an antipsychotic. This is their language. And the other class, like the Paxil, they would call a class of drugs called antidepressants. and those are the two main psychiatric drugs, and they're very one of the most common likely things it will do to you, because your body's quite resilient, but despite your body being so resilient, what the most common likely effect they'll do to you, which studies in thousands of people have shown, at least markedly 60% of people just in short trials will experience lack of erections, sexual interference.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other drugs is speed. The other main drugs they use would be benzos, which have caused people a lot of problems. They're very addictive also, and speed, which is for the people that they call ADHD. They give amphetamines to, which is also really wrong. But the main groups of drugs are the ones they call antidepressants and antipsychotics, which castrate people, and they gave 2 of those to you, not just 1.
No, I actually only had to take. Actually, the drug that I had to take was only antipsychotic, because they don't force antidepressants when you're committed.
They just force the antipsychotics.
Yeah,
where you are. Yeah.
Which is actually worse, I think.
Yeah, they can be stronger in some ways. And when they commit you, they can definitely put you on big doses. A lot easier as well.
And they I don't know, but the Risperdal, it definitely, it does, cause, I would call it chemical castration, which I think is highly, wrong to give it to people, because they don't tell you anything about the, that it could potentially castrate you, and it's, I just think it's horrible.
I agree. It's totally wrong. You're quite young. You're a young person. You said you were at university. How has this affected what you were doing with your life in university and your social life and friends?
Yeah. Well, I've lost some years, and I have to I've had to explain what happened, but overall it's been quite, it's not been helpful, but I actually had to start over, and so it's not been helpful at all. It just caused more problems for me. But it's like they kind of say that you should go and seek a psychologist or psychiatrist if you're like feeling depressed, but you don't know.
They give you castrating agents, and they commit you and imprison you without a trial and stuff. So is that people at the university that say, if you're not acting normal, or if you have any feelings of whatever, or feel sad, go and see those people, those same people. Is that what you were saying, that people at university suggest and stuff?
Yeah. They should suggest that you should seek help, or but I'm not sure that they even know how dangerous it is to go to a psychiatrist. I just think that it's wrong when universities kind of say that their students should go seek psychiatry. I think it's wrong.
I agree.
But I also got I didn't only get Risperdal, I actually also had to take Abilify.
Yeah, that's another thing that they would call an antipsychotic, yeah.
Yeah, which is it's just another antipsychotic drug. Yeah, so they just like if you have side effects with one drug, they just tell you to take another drug.
Yeah, they say some of the reasoning behind some of them, obviously they usually don't tell you it's going to likely to castrate you before that, but I don't know if they gave the risperidone first and then when you complained about it, one of them maybe gave you the one that they call Abilify, but is that what happened to you?
Yeah, that was what happened.
As well as it being a good marketing strategy for Abilify and selling more drugs, the doctors that claim that will be a helpful thing to do, it says in the pharmacy book, which all doctors have in a surgery, it says on the antipsychotics that they will they will cause sexual dysfunction by a number of means. Prolactin is just one of the ways they think it's doing that, but because you get to sell more drugs by just switching to another one which doesn't do the same thing just to your prolactin, they are pretending by selling more drugs, pretending they are dealing with the problem by pretending that it was merely just the prolactin that was causing the problem, when it actually says in their singular page for so-called antipsychotics in their pharmacy book that they're all meant to have and know, that actually it's caused by a number of reasons, not just the prolactin. But in that process, they get to pretend that they dealt with a solution and they've sold you more drugs that cause more problems. It
doesn't even have anything to do with prolactin. I don't think it has. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the drug that I'm not sure how they work, but I'm not sure if it's related to prolactin, but but I just think that's the excuse that they use.
Yes.
To say what's going on with your body.
Yes, their pharmacy book actually says it changes and that it's caused by a number of reasons. Just one of them being interference with prolactin, but many other reasons. But for marketing reasons and excuse reasons, they choose to focus on that one and send you another drug and say it's not my problem because they don't have to live with it. How has it affected your confidence in your social life and confidence in general life now that you have to still be interfered with and walk around castrated?
I mean, as I said, that I had to, I got away from, university. I also had to, when I was in psychiatry, you get isolated from your social life.
Yeah, just being segregated, taken away and segregated. You were already isolated and segregated from your social life and friends at just the age of 21.
Yeah. And I had to because at that time I was actually living with my parents, so I didn't really have anywhere to go. So I had to get apartments, and since then I haven't really been so social, but because I've yet to start again, but it definitely, has taken away some stuff that you could have done instead of being, in a psychiatric ward, and kind of feel that, you're totally alone, and so it kind of, it's kind of like a disability, I feel.
Yeah, well done for getting out. You are, so at 22, you're meant to have a lot of erections all throughout the day. I assume that's what you were having before.
Yeah.
And now, how does it feel at just 22 years old? You're not having your erections that you were having all about everywhere as a result of the castrating drugs. So is that having an effect?
Yeah, it has all kinds of effects. I have something called priapism, which basically is when you get erection at weird moments, and that's because of the Risperdal. So it's something that you have to live with, because it is permanent.
So most of the time you're not getting erections from it, but very randomly you will, and priapism is when it stays hard and it won't go down. So the signaling is not connected properly.
Yeah.
So the priapism, it stays hard and it won't go down, right? It just won't go away, and it's not a normal erection response signal that was going through your body previously. Priapism can actually kill you, so it's actually very dangerous. So you're still stuck with that happening, as well as not having erections throughout the day like you were supposed to. Yeah. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's also painful.
It's painful.
Yeah. So.
I don't know. Could you come closer to the mic again? Sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's painful when that happens as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
This is really disgusting. No one should ever do this to another human being.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on the Everyday Psych Victims Project, Ali, and sharing this with us. It's really important. I know it's really hard to talk about and share with people. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
and
thank you also.
Hopefully we can get about changing something.
Yeah. I think it's the right thing that, to speak about it, because probably not many people speak about it. So I also think it's important to do that. So, thank you also.